where I'm sitting beneath the eaves. Not one drop will find me. A little seedling is breaking through, persistent as the thought of you. Looking out into a sea of green, thinking on the years and miles that lie between. It seems so long ago, but you're still on my mind, you know. Walking through the trees, the water dances over stones. The April morning is clean and new, but a breeze has brought the thought of you. Looking out into a sea of green, thinking on the years and miles that lie between. It seems so long ago, but you're still on my mind, you know. I sat down by the riverside, fearing I could drink it dry and still not be satisfied, satisfied. Banks are full with all this rain. If they'll overflow, I can't say. The crickets calling in the firelight, and a long and gentle sleep tonight. Looking out into a sea of green, thinking on the years and miles that lie between. It seems so long ago, but you're still on my mind. Yeah, you're still on my mind, you know. Still on my mind, you know. The night is louder than it's been before. I hear it knocking on my walls and doors, saying soon enough it's time to go. But these precious hours, I keep you close. Of all the nights in recent memory, there were so many you were far from me, and I just hurt my heart deep and lonely time, wishing yours was there to echo mine. If the papers would all print old news, they'd say I'm still in love with you. Let the years go by, it remains the same. What we've got is gold, and what it's worth won't change. Well, I fear I turned you upside down when I tore you from your hometown, just to make you wait at home for me. Keep this fire alive tirelessly. But if your patience ever reached an end, tell me, baby, what would I do then? Say that it's alright to ease my mind, though you told me so 1,000 times. If the papers would all print old news, they'd say I'm... Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to another Wednesday evening. I'm Alice Howe.
And I'm Freebo, and we're really happy to be here. And Alice is back here in California. We're together again.
Yep.
We get to play music together. We get to hang. And we get to welcome an incredible guest, my old buddy Leland Sklar, wonderful bass player and phenomenal human being. And,
really looking forward to tonight's show. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you to our radio hosts, 103.7 LP,
Asheville, North Carolina,
WPVM, and the Voice of Asheville. We are so glad to be on the air with you. If you're listening on the radio, thanks for being with us. If you're listening on Facebook or YouTube Live and you're watching along, please let us know in the chat that you're here. We'd love to see your comments, and we are watching them come in throughout the show. And please hit that share button if you're watching on Facebook. It helps more folks find the show tonight. So welcome. I'm going to start off with a song.
Yeah, let's play some music for the folks.
Yeah. Traveling soul with a brand new set of wheels. They ask me how I do it. I said I like the way it feels. This is the life I chose, seeking truth along this road. It's a bitter pill to swallow. The country that you love has a history of violence that is written out in blood. I am a traveling soul, seeking truth along this road. It's the same old two-lane highway and the same old moon above. A world of contradictions and the longing to be loved. I am a traveling soul, seeking truth along this road. Well, it's easy to be running, but so hard to stay behind. I have to keep in motion to ease my worried mind. I am a traveling soul, seeking truth along this road. the towns that pass my windows, they all start to look the same. Overrun by corporate greed, disguised as household names. I am a traveling soul, seeking truth along this road. It's the same old two-lane highway and the same old moon above. A world of contradictions and the longing to be loved. I am a traveling soul, seeking truth along this road. I could drive all night on this brand new set of wheels. They ask me how I do it. I said I like the way it feels. This is the life I chose, seeking truth along this road. It's the same old two-lane highway and the same old moon above. I'm a world of contradictions, but I'm longing to be loved. I am a traveling soul, seeking truth along this road. I am a traveling soul, seeking truth along this road. Thank you all. So nice to see your comments coming in. Yes. Well, I had a great visit in Boston with my family, but it's really nice to be back here with Freebo playing some music together again.
Feels good.
It sure does. That song is called Travel and Soul, and it's one of mine, a new one that's going to be on the new record that we're recording in Muscle Shoals next month. So
in fact, we recorded that already last time we were there, right just before COVID, and I missed the drums. I mean, I'm trying to. And Lee, when you come in, you can imagine her just such a difference, obviously, when you play with drums.
Let's bring him in.
Hey, let's bring in.
Speaking of the devil,
Leland Sklar, one of the great human beings, and not a bad bass player either.
Hey, Lee.
That sounded great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really a cool tune. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, it's really a treat to have you. You've been on our list for a while. We finally got you.
You know, Lee, I'm just thinking it quite a coincidence that you and I both have on blue T-shirts.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. It's like,
well, I was jealous, so I changed to blue because I wanted to match you.
And pants.
Let me ask you this: did you ever play in a band back in the day where you had to wear the band uniform?
Oh, absolutely. I had a blue velour. I had a gold jacket. All those things, you know. I actually kind of dug it, you know, when we had our band uniforms and we would do steps while we were playing, and
wow.
You know, we had it down, you know. And then we got old and infirmed, and nobody does it anymore. But,
what was the name of that band?
I dug it.
You remember the name of that band?
There was a couple of them. One of them was the El Dorados.
Great name.
Another one was the Brimstones. Actually, the Brimstones, I was in that band in 1966 with Dan Dugmore.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Dan and I go back almost farther than anybody I know in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying something, considering that you've been in this business for a very long time.
When they invented dirt, I was in this business.
I feel just so honored to be in the company of two of the most iconic bass players that I know, but also that anybody knows.
Well, I have to say, I mean, to become iconic, all you have to do is get old and just be half decent, right?
It's true.
I wanted to ask both of you, but maybe start with Leland.
Start with Lee,
I mean, when you've been doing this for 50 years, I mean, I just, you've obviously learned so much along the way, and here you are today, and you've played on thousands of recordings. And I guess just what do you think about your life? Do you reflect on your career? What are your thoughts at this point, 50 years in?
You know,
What is it like to be an icon? I know that's a big question, but
no, it's
you just
daikon. It's daikon. It's just, it's like when people say legend, I go, no, legume.
I
No,
mean,
Turn to a
what is
vegetable.
that like to be called that all the time? I mean, tell us about that.
well, no, I never really thought about any of this. I mean, the only time I've really had to address this was during the pandemic when I started this YouTube channel that I ended up doing by accident. And during the course of this, I'm having to visit my career on a daily basis. But before all of this, all I ever thought about was what am I doing today and what am I doing tomorrow? I never really kind of looked back on it. And the only time I ever really thought about it was doing interviews and things like that. I mean, I don't I I recognize my history and I know what I've done, but it's really not. I don't dwell on it. I really look forward to being a viable working musician every day. So, but this YouTube channel kind of made me confront it head on.
You know, Leah, I can totally relate to that. I mean, it is nice when people remember you for something you did in the past, and especially when you listen to it and you go, that wasn't bad. I might do something a little differently now. But
Yeah,
uh, it really it's nice to have the history, but ultimately it really is about the present, and the future, and playing music, and not just being relevant for the sake of being relevant, but because we enjoy so much, what we do. So
absolutely.
I can totally relate to that, and people, and I'm sure, like you, I don't resist talking about the past,
Oh,
and I
no,
appreciate that. But I think it's really important for anybody listening it, that that's not really what it's about.
Yeah.
You're creating in the present. You're creating what's going to be your
Yeah.
past anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right in that where, like talking to you guys and you're heading off to Muscle Shoals to make new music. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
What we've done in the past is it's there for posterity,
right.
but it's certainly not anything that, I give tremendous thought to. I recognize it, but I'm
Hmm.
really excited about the things that are starting to get in the book now after a year of plus of very
Yeah.
little plan A and living in a world of plan B. Plan A is starting to rear its head again, and I'm just
Yeah.
dying to get on the road and
Yeah.
start playing music for people again.
Well,
Yes.
speaking of the two things I can think of, if you would speak to, first of all, maybe speak to the book that you put together during the pandemic, and also maybe speak to the new band that you're in, the immediate family. My old friend Steve Postel, the kind of lead singer, and just some iconic players in that. Would you talk about
Iconic.
both those
There's that
things a
word
little bit?
again.
Iconic. Well, they are. They
I know
really
it's
are.
true.
Well, let's talk about the band first.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, Danny Korchmar, who I've been with since 1970 with the original James Taylor band, along with Russ Kunkel, he had a record deal in Japan. Actually, I'm sitting with my camera like this so you can see the things. That's actually, I'm not trying to deny the fact that I don't have hair. I'm just wanted you to
It's a
know
good
that.
cover, though.
Normally, I would have my glasses on here, but when I'm sitting this close to the screen, it's easier to see without them. But a few years ago, Cooch got a record deal in Japan with a label called Vivid Records. And when it came time to fulfilling his record deal, he, on a whim, called the guys to see if we were around, which he was expecting that we probably weren't, because normally we would have been on the road. But it just, he called and it was a perfect lull in our schedule. So Russ and I went in with him. And at that point, he had hooked up with Steve Postel when Cooch moved back to Los Angeles from Connecticut. He and Steve met and started doing pre production for his album together. And so we went in the studio with Cooch and Steve and myself and Russ down in Jackson Brown's studio. And he wanted Waddy Wachtel to also be involved, but Waddy was out with Stevie Nicks, but he was going to be here for the last day of recording. So we did that, and when it came time to, title the album, Cooch just said, "Well, you guys are like my immediate family," so it became Danny Korchmar and the Immediate Family for the Japanese release. Once that was fulfilled, and we knew this was going to become something more than that one project, we just made it the Immediate Family because we really are. I mean, for the most part, we've been playing together outside of Steve. We've been playing together for 50 plus years.
Mhm.
Never had an argument, never had a fight, never had any kind of issues like you hear of all these bands that
That's
hate
so
each other's
beautiful.
guts and
Right.
stuff. And it's really isn't a family. So we ended up with a new album. We signed with a label called Quarto Valley Records out here in Los Angeles. And we finished a new album before the pandemic. And then all of a sudden, everything went down the toilet as far as, moving product forward and all that. Our album, we're finally releasing it on August 27th. Is going to be our release with that. And then we're going to be hitting the road at the end of October. And we just went in the studio last week back at Jackson's again with Nico Bolas engineering, and we've got 10 new tracks
Oh
beyond
my
that.
gosh.
Then we're going to go back in again, so we'll have an album finished. Beyond that, there was the great movie The Wrecking Crew that Denny
Sure.
Tedesco
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
an homage to his father, Tommy Tedesco. Well, he's making a documentary film about us now, and
Great.
that is
Yeah.
about four-fifths finished. I think they're in editing now,
Mhm.
and we're hopefully
Fantastic.
when that comes out, maybe the new stuff that we're cutting will coincide with the release of the documentary film. So there's lots of stuff going on with the band, and
Yeah.
we're just so kind of chomping at the bit to hit the road and go out and play this new music because nobody's heard any of the new stuff. And so it's
That's
exciting, I'm a bunch of we're like a bunch of kids in a candy store with all this. It's I always feel that even after 50 years, I close my eyes and it's still that first day. This has
Yeah.
never gotten. I'm sure for you guys it's the same way. If you got tired of doing this, you should quit.
Yeah. I agree.
This
I've
is
heard
magic.
that from so many. Well, I love speaking with artists of your generation and like learning what you guys have been through and hearing your stories. And also I get that sense from pretty much everybody, like including Will McFarlane. I remember him saying, he's like, I wake up and I'm like, I still get to do this. And
Yep.
it's like there's that joy that is what keeps you going. And yeah, you're in the moment with it and you're loving it. And it's just so cool that you guys found each other again after all that time and that the timing was right because it's all always about the timing being right.
Yeah.
And you were off the road and you could come together and do that. So
It was a
I'm
perfect
happy
storm.
for you guys. That's
It
so
was a
great.
little perfect storm.
Yeah.
But may I offer a prayer that the peace continues because up to this point you've never really been a band. You've been kind of playing behind somebody else. Now you're a real band.
Well, but
Just saying.
Russ and Cooch and I and Craig Durkee had the section
Right.
back in the '70s. So
Did
we
you guys do gigs as a band?
Oh yeah, yeah, and we've toured. I mean, before the pandemic, we were doing gigs. The last gig last year I actually played was with the band. We did a thing called the Rock Legends Cruise. That was one of those cruise ships that went from Fort Lauderdale
Yeah.
to Grand Cayman, and we went on and we were supposed to be back this past February, and then it got canceled. So we're going out next February on it again. But that was the last live gig that I played last year was with the band. I don't anticipate any issues with the group. I mean, we really have spent so many years. I mean, Russ and I have
Yeah.
toured for ages with Lyle Lovett
Yeah.
and different people, and um,
Certainly
I don't
changed.
anticipate any problems with it. And if there is, I'll just beat the crap out of them and move on.
No, I mean, I was actually half joking about that. I mean, at this point, I mean, you choose your battles and it's not about being right, it's it's about serving the song, and I
Well,
think
yeah.
when you're pros and friends, you figure that out and you just go, okay, and everybody knows where, when, and how to lay back, and also where, when, and how to find your own space, because
Yeah.
it does get a little crowded in the bus or on the road, and you have your own room and you need your own space, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's an aberrant world on a certain level in touring. But the thing is, if you have mutual respect for each other, then you can have disagreements, but they don't turn into like a hissy fit or anything like that.
Right.
You resolve them, and when we're in the studio, there's lots of ideas flying around, and your ego has to be one where if you come up with an idea and everybody kind of goes, no, I don't think so. Then that's fine. It's a
Yeah.
democratic institution,
Right.
and we run it in that way. There's no band leader. Everybody's on an equal footing. So we're having a
That's
ball.
great.
I mean, this is
That's
great.
great.
I
That's
couldn't
great.
be happier at
That's
this point.
great. Well, how about you speak to your book a little bit? Tell us about the book.
Well, this was really a strange journey. When I was on the road with Phil Collins in 2004, there was talk that he was going to retire at the end of the tour. And I thought, I may never see a lot of these people again. And those are massive shows. I mean, we probably had 100 crew people out there on the road with us,
Mm.
and all flight crews and all this stuff. And I thought I may never see a lot of these people again because they were from all over the world. So I thought I'm just going to go ahead and take a picture of everybody on the tour and put a little folder together in my laptop, and I could revisit it someday when I don't have memories, and I'll stare at these pictures and wonder what they mean.
Who is that?
But they had hired a bass tech, a guy named Steve Winstead, nicknamed Chinner, and he didn't really have much to do on the tour because I've always been pretty self-sufficient on tours, and he came in way overqualified. He's a really brilliant guy to have in your corner. So he ended up doing lots of jobs on the tour, and we would joke about it all the time. Well, the first person I go up to take a picture for my little folder, it's Chinner, and he's sitting at his laptop typing away, and I go, "Hey Steve, hey, Chinner, come on, give me a smile." And he doesn't break stride, and he just goes, and I take the picture of him flipping me off, and I go, "This is kind of okay." So I went to Phil, his manager Tony Smith, went to everybody in the band, everybody in the crew, caterers, truck drivers, bus drivers, everybody, and had them all flip me off. And I ended up with about 130 pictures by the end of this, and I put it away. Didn't forget about it, but just tucked it away. A couple of years later, I went on the road with the band Toto, and I decided I'm going to do those finger pictures again with the guys. Well, at this point, when we finished that, I was up to about 250 pictures. When you have a collection, one of something doesn't mean anything. A bunch of something becomes a collection,
Right.
and all of a sudden, I was motivated, and I started taking pictures. And at this point, I have over 12,000 photographs of everybody in the business that I've worked with, people like from James Taylor to Charlie Watts to Jeff Beck to you name it, but also athletes that I've worked with and actors, but also a lot of the person on the streets. And I was at a function, and I met a guy nicknamed Blue. His name's Richard Tremarchi, and he's a fine arts. He works in fine arts, and we sat and I told him about this idea about doing a book, and he said, "Let's do it," because he had the wherewithal and the facility to put this together, and we started going through 12,000 photographs, and we honed it down to 6,000 pictures. So I've got this big, huge coffee table book that's called
Wow.
"Everybody Loves Me," and all it is pictures of people giving the finger in there. I mean, and it
It's
is
so great.
just insane. And for me, looking through it, the memories. I mean, my parents are in it.
Oh,
We did the Grammys a few years back, and I got a great shot. I played with Merle Haggard, Chris Christopherson, and Willie Nelson. So I got the three of them standing together, flipping me off, and it's
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's
That's
just nuts.
classic.
But it's been really something that would have never happened had the pandemic not struck. So it
Well,
gave me.
Where can people get that book?
I had to create a website for this, and actually on the website it's fun. Beyond the book, I'm also have T-shirts that have my beard on the front of them, so
I
people
saw
keep
that.
buying those and sending me pictures of them wearing my beard. And I was also a fine arts student in college, so I've got prints of my drawings and paintings are available too in like
Wow.
museum quality. But go to lelandsklar'sbeard.com because somebody absconded with lelandsklar.com
Oh
and
no.
leesklar.com. And
Oh,
I,
man.
Oh.
the heck if I'm going to go and grovel at somebody's feet to pay them money to get my name.
Oh.
So we just thought about it and said, let's make it
That's
lelandsklar'sbeard.com.
perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I'm
That's
doing everything myself. I get the orders, I fill the orders, I sign the books and mail them, do everything.
oh, that's great.
Well, what an entrepreneur you've
I know
become.
you've
Yeah,
been
I mean,
busy.
I was almost going to make a T-shirt that said, "I was not made for retail." This is man, this is making the book was easy. Doing everything since is
It's
it's
it.
hard work, man. I've totally new appreciation for people that work in retail. It's
Mm-hmm.
this is easy.
Yeah.
Yay. Speaking of the bass, maybe we could do a little demo. We talked about Leland talking about some of the parts that you played on some of the tracks that folks will know and recognize. And if I may make a request,
Please.
I'm a huge Jackson Brown fan and grew up listening to him my whole life and probably know the words to every single song. So I would love to hear Doctor My Eyes because
Okay. Okay.
you
Well,
you did that a little bit during our sound check and maybe you could show folks that song. So
before we get illegal,
I
I'll
know just a little clip of it because we can't play too much, but
a little nugget. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll tell you, when we cut that first album with Jackson at Crystal Recording Studios in Hollywood on Vine Street, and Richard Orshoff was the engineer and producer on that. And I didn't know anything about Jackson and when we went in the studio. And as soon as this guy came in and sat down with his guitar or at the piano and started playing, I went, "This is going to be something amazing," because
Mm.
that first album was pretty monumental record. And and it's hard for me to remember how we crafted Doctor My Eyes because it's really unorthodox the way this whole thing came together. And having Jesse Ed Davis come in and do the guitar solo on it. And when we cut the
Mm.
original track, Russ Kunkel played congas on the original track and then overdubbed drums afterwards.
Huh.
But the thing that was fascinating was when we were in the studio about 2 weeks ago with the immediate family at Jackson's studio, Jackson was hanging out. And there's for the life of me, keep forgetting the name of this project, which is my fault. But it's this thing where they pick a song, I guess like almost annually. Robbie Robertson did one where they pick a song and the artist does it, and then they go around the world and they add people all over the world to it.
I remember seeing that with The Wait last year, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
It was
it's
exactly.
really
really
beautifully
cool.
Yeah.
done.
Well,
Yeah.
this time they wanted to do Doctor My Eyes.
Oh, how cool.
So Jackson said, maybe after you guys finished working, like one of the nights, we could cut this. So we finished up and we went into the room where his piano is, and this bass is my old Peace Love bass, and this is the bass I played on Doctor My Eyes. Russ Kunkel had the congas that he played on Doctor My Eyes.
Oh,
And we
perfect.
started playing and we kind of stopped and looked at each other and went, man, the last time we did this was 50 years ago. It
Oh
was
It's
my
amazing.
really, really pretty surreal. So
God. Mm.
Mhm.
let me go ahead and give you a taste of this here. Here we go. I'll keep an eye on this, try not to go over time. Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of years without crying. Now I want to 30 seconds. I think that's our legal time.
Oh no.
I know that this is what sucks about all this stuff. But that's
Yes.
I love that lick.
It's so great. Oh, thank you.
That's
I wish
I
I could
wish
wonderful.
play
you
the
could.
whole thing. I
I
wish I.
wish you
Of
could
course.
too.
No,
Well,
that
we'll
would be
just have to
great.
come see you live with the band sometime
Yeah,
soon this
yeah,
fall.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. How did you get hooked up with some of the artists that you initially worked with out here in LA? And actually, maybe the first question would be, where did you grow up and how did you begin your musical journey? And then maybe we could get to all that. I don't know. What do you think, Freebo? How
Yeah.
should we?
Well, I think first I aged. I never grew up.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I think
Good.
that's the case. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but my family moved here when I was about 4 years old to Los Angeles. And when I was about 5 years old, just turning five, my parents used to watch the Liberace TV show,
I remember it
and
well.
yeah, and I became enamored with the piano at that point, and we had a baby grand piano in the house. And I started studying piano. I took to it like a fish to water, and I had like, you know, I don't want to say a child prodigy, but it really developed very quickly where I ended up winning some awards from the Hollywood Bowl Association when I was like 8 years old and met Eugene Normandy, the conductor of the
Oh,
Philadelphia
Philadelphia
Orchestra.
Orchestra. Yeah.
But I was like a classical snob, and that's all I was studying was classical music. And but when I've told this story, anybody who's heard my interviews, I always go back to this. When I went into junior high school at 12 years old, the I assumed I'd play piano at that point, and the music teacher said, "No, we need a bass player, string bass player." And he pulled out an old K upright, big blonde upright, and he put it in my arms, and I plucked one note and felt that vibration, and said,
Hmm.
"Sold, I love this." And at that point, I was kind of burned out with piano, but that teacher's name was Theodore Lynn. And I'll tell you one thing, a great teacher can change your entire life.
Indeed.
And I always credit everything I've really ever accomplished in this to Ted Lynn, really launching me in this direction. So I was always in bands, but I was like doing still classical and jazz. It really wasn't until the Beatles came along that I really twisted my head around and started listening to other music, and then became like a huge fan of the English Invasion with Cream and Jimi Hendrix and all that, and really focused on hard rock and that kind of stuff. But I was always in bands, but never really thought I'd have a career in music. It's one of those vague industries that everybody, like your parents' friends are all going, when's he going to get serious? And when's he going to get a job kind of thing? Nobody can imagine you could actually do something that's called playing and actually have it be your profession. So, so I was in college, but I was in the late '60s. I was in a band called Wolfgang here in Los Angeles, and we were managed by Bill Graham, and that's why we called ourselves Wolfgang, because that was Bill Graham's real name was Wolfgang, and what better way to endear yourself to your manager
Yeah.
naming the band after him.
Hmm.
Wow.
But it was during that with that band around 1969 that there was a friend of mine, John Fishbeck, who produced and engineered all the early Stevie Wonder stuff like Songs in the Key of Life. And that, well, he was one of the owners of Crystal Recording Studios where we did Jackson's record. He would come up and hang out at our rehearsals with us because he was really good friends with Bugs Pemberton, who was our drummer. Well, at one of our rehearsals, he brought a friend of his who had just come back from England and named James Taylor. And So this guy, none of us know James or anything. Nothing had happened here for him yet, and he had just finished recording "Sweet Baby James," and so he hung out with us for a couple of days, and that was it. Well, then he got offered a gig at the Troubadour here in Los Angeles, and they had a band. They had Danny Korchmar on guitar, Carole King was the piano player, and Russ Kunkel was the drummer, but they didn't have a bass player. And James said, there was this guy that I met at this rehearsal, and I think he'd be the right guy for it. And they tracked me down, and I went played what I thought was going to be one gig with him, and it turned into the rest of my life. You just don't know. I always encourage players to. I say, never say no.
Yeah.
Things you get called for gigs, and your friends might be going, "Oh, that's lame. That's going to suck," and you just go, "Who knows?" But you walk in that door, and you might meet one person there that could be a life changer for you.
Yeah.
Another player, whatever. So I encourage people all the time to, just, I mean, if you do something and it goes really south, then you have the option next time of saying no to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Right.
I never say no at the onset unless I'm already booked for something.
Yeah.
Right.
But
You know,
it's been
but excuse me, Lee. I thought you played on Sweet Baby James. Did you not?
no, Bobby West played bass on some of that. I forget because it was really weird when we did the James's first tour when we were in England. When they reviewed the show, I think on his English album there was a bass player named Louis Sonoma, and so when they reviewed the show, they said, "Yeah, and on bass was Louis Sonoma." It was funny. No, the first album I did with James, I think, was One Man Dog. Was the
Okay.
first actual studio. I toured with him on the first album, but the first recording I did with him was One Man Dog, and
You know,
it's been been an unbelievable run. But so much of this business is one thing I will give a huge shout out to, and a huge chunk of my career is probably involved with him is Peter Asher from people who knew him from Peter and Gordon and all that. But Peter was producing, Linda Ronstadt and James Taylor and all kinds of stuff and management. And one of the things that was great with Peter was he insisted that our names appear on the albums because the Wrecking Crew, none of those people ever got album credits.
that's
So
true.
people would be listening to Frank Sinatra or the Beach Boys and didn't realize it was all the same musicians playing on
Yeah.
everything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, I think people would look at James's record, see our names on it, and go, "Well, if they're good enough for him, let's
Hmm.
track those guys down." And
You've told
No,
a similar story for
I
you.
agree with that so
Yeah.
much that I feel so fortunate that I was part of that era, and with
yeah,
Bonnie and Maria Moldauer and the records I played on in that genre, they did put the names and very often the pictures on the back. And, I find it kind of sad that so many more people knew who I was for the few records that I played on as opposed to James Jamerson, who, for those people who don't know, was the iconic, there's the word again, but he really was.
yeah,
He, he played on almost all of the Motown hits. That's just a phenomenal player.
yeah,
Or another a bass player that most people have never heard of, Ronnie Baker. Ronnie, you familiar with Ronnie Baker?
yeah,
Yeah, out of Philadelphia. So much of the Sigma Sound and the Gamble and Huff crew,
yeah,
and those people never got their names on the back of the record. Or Carol Kay, who was
yeah,
very much part of the Wrecking Crew. So
yeah,
yeah, we really were lucky, and that's another thing we were talking about during the sound check, Lee. That or was it yesterday? But just the fact that uh, we can commiserate here, it's okay, but that not just bass players, but session musicians who generally invent their own parts. Rarely does somebody
yeah,
tell us exactly what to play. They might put a chart in front of us with some chords so you know what the outline is, but you come up with the part. So you're
yeah,
creating something. You're no different than Beethoven or Bach writing, a moving bass line. And
yeah,
all the players do that, and we get paid, scale or double scale or triple scale. You get paid for the session, and that's it. And it's really kind of sad that whether it be the unions or the record companies or the artists themselves, never quite appreciated that. So I know you have strong feelings about, not to get on the pity pot or anything, but
Yeah.
I can relate to that, because I mean, it's a part of us that's there, and it's kind of sad that it's not compensated monetarily.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's so many times where, where we've gone in the studio and the person sits down and plays a song and it is skeletal. They really have no ideas. And the band puts together arrangements, puts in, goes, this thing needs a bridge. And the band comes up with a bridge or an introduction and things like. And at the end of the day, the artist looks like a genius to the public, and they had nothing to do with a great deal of what took place in the studio. It's one of those things I learned really early on, that this is the nature of the beast,
Right.
and arguing against it was all it was going to do was get you not hired, because they
Yeah,
weren't about
you
the
can't
game.
do that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I wanted to work. I never wanted to have a job, so it was always good to be playing music, and but yeah, there's times where it's frustrating, but it is what it is. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't feel pity about it, because I go, I mean, I could have been a guy doing hot tarring in Atlanta on roofs in August.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot tougher jobs in the world than mine.
Oh, for
So
sure. No, and don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. It's
no,
just that
I get
because
that
most
totally.
people don't realize that,
The
excuse me,
contribution.
the role of a session musician
Yeah.
and how it affects the record itself, and very
Yeah.
often the song and the
Well,
writing
I
of the
was
song.
thinking about that just yesterday when we were in the studio working on some demos, and also listening to some of the stuff that we had done in Muscle Shoals a couple of years ago in preparation to go back. And we soloed each person for just a second, because we were trying to make sure that we were trying to find where something weird was going on. And so we listened to each person playing for about 10 seconds. And I just loved hearing everybody separately, because as a group, it's this funky, cool, super rhythmic and just beautiful. And it all works together, and nobody rehearsed. And
Yeah.
I'm just so utterly amazed. For me, like, I'm a singer, I am not, and I come up with stuff vocally in the moment, so I guess I get it in that way, but I don't do that with my instrument, my guitar. I just, those are not skills that I have developed yet, or maybe ever. And it just amazes me that in the moment, you and Mark and Will and Jeff and everybody finds their little pocket and just figures out exactly what they're going to do while they're doing it, totally intuitively, listening to what's happening around them, so that each part on its own sounds kind of strange because there's nothing else happening. But when it's all together, it's perfect. And it's just amazing to
Exactly.
me.
Yeah,
It's the
that's what's
magic.
missing. Each
It's
part.
magic.
Well, it's a classic thing about ensemble playing, and I always say that, for ensemble playing, that the most important thing is listening. And if you listen, you'll intuitively know what to play, because you're listening to what somebody else is playing. So you don't play that, you play something that goes in tandem with that. And and then there's the more people who are playing, the less each person needs to play. Otherwise it
Yeah.
Yeah.
gets too crowded. So it's a question of coming up with parts, and the part itself could be chink,
Yeah, that's what's
chink,
so amazing.
chink. It's like, are you kidding
I
me?
love it.
But with everything else going on,
And you
it's
feel the
butter.
rhythm even in like what Mark is playing, where
Right.
when he's not playing, you feel that rhythm in it. It's just
Yeah.
very, very cool.
It really is an incredible thing when the juices are flowing in the studio, and everybody, because the thing that you really have to always remember is it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Very
the
good.
song, it's the artist,
Yeah.
and so you're trying to find parts that really move the song along. And
Exactly.
if that all that if they only need from me to go, I'm fine with that.
Hmm.
If that's what fits it, that's perfect for it. I'm not showing off. I'm not there to impress anybody. I'm there to serve the song. And
And that's exactly it. It really is about serving the song, and I think that separates the pros from the amateurs, and we've all been amateurs. I've been at that place where
yeah,
you really want to get your licks in, and you go and you say, "Oh God, playing too much." I often, when I do, especially I'm doing my own stuff, something with Alice, I'll try stuff, and I invariably wind up taking away, playing less and going, I don't need to do that. And you have to leave your ego at the door, because it's
Yeah.
not about you, it's about the song. And the person delivering the song is the singer. So you're
Yeah.
listening to the singer, but you're aware of the song, the chord changes, where it's going, but how you frame that, and so
You
that's what.
just need to bring enough ability where if they say, I want you to do something like insane here, do step out, kind of thing, that
Yeah.
you've got the facility to do it, that you're not.
Right.
I have a term for that. I call it a moment.
Yeah.
Your little
Every
moment.
song I have a little moment,
Little moments.
and it's that's my
I
moment,
know. I'm
and
always
and,
like,
and, I,
Freebo,
and
that was your
I want my
moment.
moment. Give me my moment. I want it, and I'll take it. But it's got to be in the right place, in the right little
Yeah.
thing. And as a listener, if somebody listens to the bass, that's some cool stuff. You want to hear that, but not all the time.
It's a little signature, in there.
Yeah,
Just this thing where they go, I knew that was you.
yeah. Well, like
It's,
your thing on Dr. Mine, diggity,
Yeah.
diggity, 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 boom. I mean, that's the only time we do that in the song, and well, maybe the second time,
well,
but
it happens leading in each time, but still, it's just one of those
yeah,
funny, funny.
it's that moment, and then you just kind of rock out in your own like
Yeah.
cool way. You
Um,
talked before. You said something about James Taylor's record about, what is it, One Man Dog or something like that, or
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that was the first recording I did with him. Now, James was a serious challenge to play with because he's such a comprehensive guitarist that he always has a moving bass line going with his
yes,
thumb. So for me, it was, what am I going to do here to justify
Mm.
being here? Because he's already playing bass. So it was a
yeah,
matter of, on some songs, somewhat doubling him, and on other songs, finding lyrical parts that completely moved around him. And
Mm.
yeah,
it was a real challenge to figure out how to play with him.
hmm
Unlike most other guys that I knew that were just kind of, strumming along or doing something, James is like a
he
one-man
thinks like
band on guitar.
he thinks like a bass player. I mean,
Yeah,
he's really bottom
He's
up.
amazing.
yeah. And so that was great. But I just popped open the chat window and I'm seeing some questions. Should I answer any of these questions at this point?
Well,
Yeah. I
before you
think.
do that, can I try one thing? I'd like to
Sure,
play
anything
one
you want.
thing.
It's your show. I'm your
No,
geek.
no, it's our show. But speaking. See, I brought up the one man dog thing because I know you're a dog person. Do you
Yeah.
still have a dog? You still have any
My
dogs?
boys are sitting right outside the door here, I
Oh,
think.
your
Great,
boys.
great. Well, I have a whole CD of dog songs, and I would like to play you my most recent
Oh,
dog song. And the folks out there have heard that, but I think you'll enjoy this. It's kind
I'd
of
love to hear
funny.
it.
I wrote this with my friend Harold Payne, and I came up with an idea for the song, and I had the chorus and I had the music, but I need to come up with some clever lyrics. So we threw this together, and I've showed Alice a couple notes on the bass, and we
Just a few.
got a grooving on this thing. So I'd love to share it with you. It's called "She Loved My Dog More Than Me." It's a
Oh,
true story.
fantastic. I love it.
And if you're listening on the radio, you are listening to WPVM LP in Asheville, North Carolina, 103.7 on the dial, and globally at WPVMFM.org.
That was very professional. That was great.
I had
That
to
was
read
very
it
good.
from the sheet.
You did it well in your radio voice.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Ready? One, two, three, four. There you go. Once upon a time, everything was so fine, cozy, just my baby and me. I was so well fed, had my breakfast in bed. I was happy as a man can be. Then my buddy called up, had the cutest little pup. I couldn't help but take him in. Little did I know her affection would go to my new little four-legged friend. Now she loved my dog more than me. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. We were lying by the fire, burning with desire, when suddenly, to my chagrin, As the fire got to stoking, came a cold nose a poking somewhere it should not have been. I thought she'd shoo him away, but she told him to stay. It kinda took me out of the zone. Now a man's best friend gets a girl in the end, and I'm left holding the bone. You know what I mean, Lee? 'Cause she loved my dog more than me. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Nice little lead in there. So I'm sitting here fuming while he's getting all the grooming. That ain't how it's supposed to be. Well, you know I don't hate him, but I got an ultimatum. Baby, it's the dog or me. Well, I got a reply. She led me outside and she handed me my people chow. Now I'm howling at the moon while he's up in my room, and I'm in the doghouse now. Everybody sing, ready? She loved my dog more than me. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. Ba 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 ba. There's a moral to the story. When you fall from the glory, you gotta do it gracefully. So I'm back in the bed with the dog at the head. We're a nuclear family, and I accept my fate. You know this little debate, because there ain't no democracy. From the moment he came, it's been a doggone shame that she loved my dog more than me. 2, 3, 4. She loved my dog more than me. Nice. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. One more. Said that she loved my dog more than me. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. Yes, I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. Ba 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 ba. Ow!
That's so, I'm sitting here the whole time thinking video. You have to do a video of this. This is genius.
You do need to do
You got
a
any
video.
ideas for exactly how to do it?
Oh God, it's
Oh, a million
it's
different
really
ways.
good.
Thank you. Thank
Well, I can't say that I was looking forward to playing bass in front of you guys, but
you. Yeah, so somebody
Sounded
said in the
wonderful.
chat. Somebody said in the chat, I can't believe
Stop.
Alice is playing bass in front of Leland Sklar.
Hey, we're all in this together, okay?
Yeah.
we
Wait,
are.
wait.
I have a good teacher. Let's put it that way. I'm
Yeah.
working on it.
Okay, that reminded me of a joke. Can I tell you a joke?
Please.
Certainly.
Okay, so two guys are walking down the street and they see this dog on the lawn and it's licking itself. And one guy looks at the other guy and he goes, God, I wish I could do that. And his friend looks at him and he goes, you should try petting him first. That's my cymbal crash.
That's good.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank
love
you.
it.
Thank you for that.
That's a,
That's a good one. I
try the
got it.
piccata. That's a great tune, though. I really like it.
Thank you very much.
And it's so true.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, you can be displaced so easily by a pup.
Oh, they're just so cute.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if you guys could talk a little bit about Well, first, I'm interested in that special relationship between a bass player and a drummer, because you had talked about that with Michael Jokum, who we had hoped to have on our show, but we never
And,
got a chance to have
and
Michael
Lee,
on.
Lee knows Michael. They've
I
done
know
And
Michael
many
very
many
well.
sessions
yeah,
together.
I know that, with Michael or some of the other drummers you've played with, I'm just curious, like, what's that vibe about? How does that work?
Well, you first, Lee.
Well, I mean, it really, it's like if you're, building a house, you're as strong as the house is going to be as strong and good as its foundation. And for me, it really is that the bass and drums are really can make so much out of a project. The beauty of the drums is just setting up the rhythmic side of it, and the bass joins into that. But you're sort of a conduit to the melodic side also. So you're in a transitional seat. But for me, I've done so many projects where I walk in a room, and if I see the drummer, if I know him, like if I walk in and I see Russ or Jim Keltner in the days when it would be Jeff Picard or something, I kind of didn't care about what else was going on. I knew we had a connection there, and it was going to be really solid and strong.
Yeah.
And then one of the most exciting things is to do a project where I meet a new drummer that I've never worked with before, and all of a sudden we're one bar together, and it's going to be great, or
Right.
it's not going to be great.
Yeah.
When it's not good, it's really it's hard. I've played with drummers that it's like pulling teeth trying to lock
Yes.
together with them.
Yeah.
So it's not always magic, but when it is great, that foundation can really make the rest of the music soar.
Yeah.
And
And
I like the
every
responsibility of it.
yeah.
I like when we're on stage playing that I don't have to be up front all the time. That I can be sitting back, and Russ and I just kind of look at each other with the immediate family, and we just sort of grin and kind of just watch the other guys in their bodybuilder pose off, because three guitars up front and then us in the back.
Yes,
That's funny.
that is great.
It is interesting what you said about it's not even about playing with like as a bass player, the drummer. It's not even playing about a drummer who's good. It's about the connection. I mean, I've
Yeah,
played with drummers who are known to be good, and I've heard them on records and sound great. And for one reason or another, the drummer and I just didn't
yeah,
connect, and it was like pulling teeth. And I played with other drummers who, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, were maybe an 8, but they were really into me and I was into them, and we created great music. So it just like with the conversation, it's not about
yeah,
how many 75-cent words you know or what subjects you can talk about. It's how you connect. And I think that's the bottom line. I was going to, just to further what you said, Alice, that a lot of times I say, well, what's really important is when the bass player, the bass and the kick drum need to be playing at the same time. And I mean, sometimes that's a really cool thing. It's nice to put the point on the bass and the note for the bass drum, but sometimes it's really good when it's opposite. So I mean, these rules don't work. Eventually, I think it becomes intuitive, and at some
yeah,
point you work it out. I don't know about you, but often I'll say to the drummer, I say, "Hey, could you give me a boom boom so you can get my anticipation in,
yeah.
in certain thing?" It would also hit the downbeat. Do you find much talking
I
communication with
agree
drummers?
totally with what you said there. Also, when I look back at like the earlier days of pop music and stuff, the kick drum was not a huge instrument to be dealt with. You listen to Beatles records and all these, the kick drum's just there. It's all kind of mid drums and high drums, and the
Yeah,
bass was really the dominant instrument in that range, in that rhythmic thing, where like so many concerts I go to now, I can't hear the bass up there because the front of house guy
yes,
thinks that the kick drum is the most important instrument coming off
exactly.
the stage,
Yeah.
and you're just going, God, would you stop that? But I don't, musically it's wonderful sometimes when you really lock in and get a pattern going together. But I really don't like when they say, you guys got to really, let's grid this out. And you guys, like, I want to hear you dub. I just go, it's like machine music then.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
really rather, I don't, but it's, once again, everything is predicated on the song.
right.
And some songs really want to have that kind of that lock, and other ones just want to have a little more freedom. And sometimes I'll let the drummer set up that pattern, and I'll do parts that are actually sort of swimming around it and not committing myself to that same exact pattern. And
Right, right.
Mm-hmm,
Agreed.
mm-hmm.
Totally. Well, we're coming up on
I know.
on the hour where we're going to lose the radio portion of the show, but we're going to continue this show, and
Yeah.
just want to let the folks know, if you're on the radio and you're going to lose it, you can join us on Facebook or YouTube. Why don't you tell them about how they can do that, and the other folks how they can join us in the chat room, so we can do more of this, and some examples where Lee actually does play some more bass and
Yeah.
show some of the tunes he played on.
Yeah, so we are going to sign off from WPVM on the radio, and we are going to continue the show as we have been on Facebook and YouTube, with the additional fun option of joining us in the Zoom room if you so desire,
Zoom
for
room.
about half an hour ish of hanging and chatting and playing some more music and answering some questions that you guys have been sending in. So
great.
definitely check the chat on Facebook or YouTube, and you will see that there is a meeting ID and passcode. There's not a direct link. You have to actually open Zoom and enter the meeting ID and passcode, and you can join us backstage. There's already some folks coming in, and we're gonna continue to broadcast the show out. So wherever you choose to watch or listen, you can still hang out with us for another little while. We'll have a
Oh
great
yeah.
time.
Is there any
And
And
food
we're going to be
backstage?
doing, there's no food, there's no deli tray. I'm sorry.
oh man.
But we are going to be doing our Cordial cable giveaway, which I'm not sure if we mentioned to Lee, but we give away a
Oh yeah.
cable from our wonderful sponsor, who is also, Leland is one of
Yeah,
their artists
He
as
sure
I'm
well.
is.
sitting
Yeah.
here. I have Cordial cable right here.
Us
Yep. We've
too.
got all our cables of Cordial. Yep.
Yes. So I think we are officially off the air. Bye, Asheville. If we're still there. Bye,
Bye,
everybody in
Asheville.
Asheville. Join us online.
And
And
now,
now
now we can say any damn thing we want.
we don't actually know exactly when
Right.
it
Yeah,
ends.
just in case it's like we're hanging over for a minute or two. I see
Be
people
cool.
are already coming in the chat room.
But I will say, now that we are off the air, that folks, if you are watching, and many of you who watch every week already know this, but we do take your donations gratefully for the show. If you're able to send us a tip because you're enjoying the music and the conversation tonight, we so appreciate that. You can go to PayPal or Venmo or my website, and you can enter a credit card. You can send us a check. All those links are in the chat as well. So thank you for that.
We split it 3 ways
We
so
do.
Lee can get some dog food for his very large dogs. You have
And
large
and
dogs,
Lee
right?
has his book is available at lelandsklar'sbeard.com. His book is available, t-shirts. I'm sure he's got art as well, fine art,
Yeah,
prints.
yeah,
And I have a Patreon. Freebo has a Patreon. Freebo and I are both going to be hitting the road pretty soon. Actually, at the end of next week, our first stop is a house concert in
With our
Denver
buddy Michael Jokum,
with Michael
who's
Oh,
Jokum.
in the
great.
chat.
Yep. And then we're
Yep.
going to be making our way to Chicago, Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas, just outside of Kansas
St.
City.
Louis,
All those details are
Chicago,
on my
Atlanta.
website. So go to alicehowe.com, and we'd love to have you guys at
I'm so glad you're hitting the road.
shows. Yeah.
So are we.
We are
It's
so
really,
excited.
we love doing this and love making music. And I mean, it's interesting how you've learned, because you do that with your YouTube show as well. You've learned how to, you're not just on, but you're talking to a camera, but the people are out there
Yeah,
and you feel them, which is really cool. So we've learned how to do that, but man, can't wait to actually feel the whole thing and see the people and
yeah.
with them. And that'll be so nice.
It's the lifeblood of what we do.
It sure is. And by the way, Lee, I think you will enjoy the chat, afterwards at some point when you go back, and there's really some fascinating comments. I think you really enjoy.
No, it's great. It's great. I've been checking some of these out on here, and
Yeah.
it's cool. I mean, I enjoy this. I've had kind of the best time I've ever had is doing my YouTube channel and having a live stream on that, because and it's not so much about the focus on me. They've become such a deep community together that sometimes, like before it even starts, I've opened the chat window and everybody's talking to each other like they're at like a
Right.
cool family reunion.
Oh yeah.
And to me, this is really the essence of what this has all become. Is a during a period of social distancing to have something where people can really come together and
Yeah.
share ups and downs and what's going on in their lives. And so many times, like the stream will turn into people all talking about food and restaurants and where they live. And it's because people would tell me, they go, well, I don't play bass or I'm not a musician, so I don't know what it would be like to be on that. And as soon as they come on and they go, oh man, this is unbelievable. It's like
Hmm.
it's got there's a talk of music, but for there's so many other aspects of people's lives that are being shared and addressed, and I love it.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
really
Yeah,
cool.
it does. It becomes a community. Dan Navarro was talking about that too. He was doing a show every day for a while. I don't think he still is. He's on the road,
Yeah.
but he's talking. It's really as much about the community and the people who come in to chat and they get
Yeah.
to know each other. And I mean, it's no different than being at a house concert or
And I've loved
something.
seeing that on here too. We've been doing this show every week since last September, and many of the folks that come into the
Yeah.
room after, hi
In
guys,
fact,
by the way.
most of the people I see, the names on there, we know them all and
Yeah.
welcome. It's great to see you all.
Yes, it's so
Uh,
nice to see you all
including Mike
here.
Smith, our cordial guy.
Great,
Hi.
Mike.
There you can see Mike over there on
Yes.
the side.
So let's get to a couple of these questions. What do you think? We've got, I mean, oh man, did you see a one that you'd like to answer, Leland? Because I know you can see a
Um,
few.
Hold on. Let me just go back here real quick. I'll shoot some quick answers off so we don't do a whole lot of time here. John Callahan was curious about Kate Taylor's new album. And the thing that was great was we did James Taylor's sister, Kate Taylor,
Hmm.
we did her first album, Sister Kate, 50 years ago. And they just decided to do another album. And we went in the studio with Peter Asher, who produced that one, and Russ Kunkel and Danny Korchmar and myself, and Waddy Wachtel and Albert Lee. And we've done a new album, and I'm going to do a quick run with them, starting on I think July 24th for about 10 days with Peter and Kate, and it's a really good album. Kate's really
Cool.
is a wonderful artist, so that's great. Did Lee ever play
Cool.
with Tommy Bolin, Mike Edwards? I knew Tommy from the days when he was in Zephyr and I was in Wolfgang because our local manager, we were both managed by the same crook, basically. And we went, but we did gigs together with Zephyr and with Wolfgang. And when I went to New York to do Spectrum with Billy Cobham, I walked in the room and there was Tommy Bolin. And Tommy was probably one of the greatest guitar players that I've ever worked with. I love Tommy dearly, and he died way, way too young. He was only about 27 when he passed away. But so getting to do Spectrum with Tommy was one of the high points in my whole career. And that album we cut in 1973, and it still stands the test of time. Every time I see Jeff Beck, he comes running up to me going, Stratus, Stratus, because he always plays Stratus in his shows. And he said Tommy's guitar playing changed his approach to playing guitar,
Hmm.
which is pretty deep when
Wow.
you think Jeff
That,
Beck was that influenced by somebody.
wow. That sure
Um,
is.
And one last one here, and then
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
David Wynn, can you give me info on the cruise coming in February? Uh, uh, Jan, my first stuff, I will be celebrating our 50th anniversary. Love to take her on that. It's called, I'm not sure where the links are for that, but it's called the Rock Legends Cruise, and it's like Deep Purple is going to be on it, and a whole bunch of different
Oh, cool.
people. I'm not sure what the cruise line is, but if you start, Googling up Rock Legends Cruise, I think it's February of next year, and it leaves from Fort Lauderdale and it goes to Grand Cayman, and it's about 4 days altogether.
That
It's
sounds
Hmm.
wonderful.
Yeah.
pretty cool. There's tons of bands and musicians on it. The one we did last time, Roger Daltrey was on it, and Nancy Wilson from Heart, and
Oh, great.
got just tons of people. It's really fun. So if you can make it, please do.
Cool.
And
Well, thanks for answering some of those, Lee. That's great.
yeah, anything you want, I'm here for you kids.
Well, then in that case, why don't you do another little demo for us? Because that was so much fun.
Well, I'll tell you what. After sitting here talking about Tommy Bolin and everything, one of the most iconic bass parts for me was on Spectrum. And let me see if I can find this on here. And if this is the one where Jeff Beck comes up and gets in my face every time about this. But we cut this whole album at Electric Lady in New York, and it was Billy Cobham on drums, Jan Hammer on keyboards, Tommy Bolin on guitar, and myself on bass. This is the bass I played on this track, and it's called Stratus. So here we go. Let me get it. Oops. 30 seconds.
Oh man, this is like, that's torture.
It goes. That's the whole essence of the entire song. But everywhere, anywhere I've gone in the world, if I start playing that, people go nuts and they jump all over it and they want to play it. So this is the bass I played on that original track. So
Oh wow.
I'm sorry about my squeaky chair here.
It's really funny actually.
This is the bane of my live streams and stuff. I sit here and I have people sending me lithium grease, cans of WD-40 and going, and then half the other people are going, don't change a thing, don't touch it. So
somebody was saying, is that a chicken in the room or is that his chair? Sounds like a little. I was like,
but it makes me want to ask you, you go, first of all, do you practice much to keep your fingers in shape? Because at this point in my life, I go if I weren't really my fingers would. I would be blah, 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 blah. I mean, you've got amazing dexterity. I'm wondering how much you practice.
I really don't practice as much as I should, and this year has really taken it a kind of a toll on it, because normally I was gigging so much and in the studio so much that there was really no time to practice. With the advent this year of getting into these things like the book, the YouTube channel, I mean, all these different things, all of a sudden I'm finding myself not playing as much as I want to play. So I'm trying, if I can, to at least maybe in the evening go grab an hour and just go play. And what I like to do is I play along with things. I've been playing along with immediate family stuff just to keep that fresh, because we're going to hit the road. I love playing Phil Collins's show, so a lot of times I'll go up and I'll just sit and I'll play his set. I know I'll never probably end up playing those songs again because I don't know if he's ever gonna. They're getting ready to do a Genesis tour, but whether Phil's going to work after that or not, we just don't know. But
with Peter Gabriel as well.
No, it's Phil and Tony and Michael, and then Phil's son Nicholas is playing drums with them now. Who did our last tour with Phil? He's an amazing drummer. And he's like 20 now, I think, 19. He was 16 when we started touring with him. And Daryl Sturmer, I'll be trading off guitar and bass stuff with Mike Rutherford. So there's no telling where it's going to head after that. But I do love sitting there playing all these songs. And, all I have to do is go up there and play Sussudio a couple of times, and my chops are pretty much back up. Because that's really a handful to jump into.
Wow.
But I'm trying to stay fresh, but it's been really hard. And trying to keep your calluses up is a challenge. But
I know. I'm not even used to standing up and playing. Like I'm so used to just sitting down in this chair in the studio now. It's like I've just kind of sunken into it, but it's
I know it's when we had our first rehearsal with the immediate family, the first thing we all looked at each other and went, holy shit, we're standing up. And
yeah.
all of a sudden, like my bass was in a different position than it
I
is
know.
down.
Yeah.
Your shoulder, your geometry is slightly different. And
It's
we all kind of like the next day, it was kind of like, is your back okay, feeling okay?
yeah. Yeah. Right.
It's, who would have ever thought that that would become part of your vocabulary
I
is
know.
being concerned about, you're standing up or sitting down playing. I mean,
It's so funny.
Absolutely.
it's
Hey,
great. I'm glad you mentioned that because that was really funny for me too.
yes. I know the guitar felt so far away the other day,
Yeah.
and I did one live show just a couple weeks ago in Boston, and yeah, it was really a surprise. I was thinking I also had to wear shoes. That was another problem. I was
Oh,
like, oh
Jesus.
my God, shoes. This is what do I do here? Um, I was thinking we should probably talk about our giveaway a little bit because
We
Mike is
should,
here and
indeed.
we are all such big fans of Cordial. So every week, Leland, we've been so fortunate to be able to give a cable away to one of our
Oh,
lucky audience members and a t-shirt as well. And the folks at Cordial have been so incredibly supportive of this
they're
show and
great.
just of us in general. So
We really
thank you,
appreciate
Mike.
that,
We
Mike.
love your cables. Obviously, all three of us are big fans, and I know so many people have been turned on to them through this, so that makes us happy.
In fact, Mike, I'm going to call you after the show. We need a couple more, just to
Yeah, we
let you
need
know.
more.
No, they,
And Lee,
Okay.
and we always give one to our guests, but in this case, Lee, you've got plenty, right?
I've got what I need and all that. And I
Got
was
what you
told
need.
that you were giving this bass away too.
Well, we thought about it, but we thought we'd ask your permission first
Okay.
for a price.
So, so what we're gonna do, folks, and some have already put their numbers in because you know the deal. But we picked
The
a
deal.
number before the show. We picked a number between 1 and 100, and Brandon is keeping an eye on the numbers coming in, and we will announce the winner in a couple minutes. So put your guesses in any of the chats that you are watching on, and we can see all of them at once because we have that power.
And
You're
Brandon,
gonna
Jack
give
Rickenbach wanted
away
to
that.
know.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, Jack Rickenbach wanted to know what the Zoom code was. He wants to get into the Zoom.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah, well
go ahead. I
Brandon
see
can.
all these numbers coming in. That's great.
Yep, excellent.
So the cable that they're giving away, it's 3 inches long. It's that one where you
It's
stand right
Well,
next to your account.
yeah,
that's the long one.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. You can actually choose a mic cable or an instrument
Or an
cable in this
instrument cable.
case.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
20 foot or 10 foot,
Yeah.
No, they're
right
great. They're
angle
great.
or
I love the
not.
cables.
Wow, lots of guesses tonight. We've got it. I gotta say, Leland, we've got a big crowd tonight. There's like over 150 people watching. So thanks for
Wonderful.
those who are here to see Leland. We're very happy you're here.
I
And
probably owe them money and they're here to collect.
and we have just one more episode of this show next week. We should mention
That's
this is the
right.
second to last and our last and 40th, if I counted correctly. I may have Brandon and I were arguing about how many actually episodes there have been. So I should probably go back and count. But
Who's
I'm gonna say
counting?
40 because 40 sounds really good. Our 40th and final episode is next Wednesday with Mary Gaucher and Jamie Harris.
Oh, great.
And then
Yeah.
Now, is this a
it.
hiatus basically? Or do you think he'll come back and do this
We
again?
don't we don't we don't know, honestly. I
Okay.
mean, it's so much fun, but
It's
it's
been
also
really
a lot of
fun.
work.
Yeah.
But it's special because I mean, originally it was like, how can we continue to do what we do and kind of get ourselves out there? And we thought, well, let's bring in a special guest so it's not just about us all the time. And that's turned into a whole different thing. But as you can experience, Lee, and all our friends can experience, it's way more. And it's not even an interview; it's musician on musician interview. So you tend to ask different kinds of questions. It's a different kind of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting. We might go back to it at some point. We might do
We'll probably
maybe
bring it back here and
one a
there.
month. We might have some special
Hey, maybe
shows.
we'll do one in
Yeah.
person sometime and you in
That would be
LA,
great.
and you could come out and we could all play together. That's really my dream for
Yeah,
it,
that would be
is to like
fabulous.
stream it from a club sometime where we can actually be together and
Yeah,
not have it be the remote thing anymore. Because it's I just can't wait to play in the room with other musicians, and
yeah,
that's what we've all been missing, is
Yeah, I mean,
that energy. To have your
if
band. That's so great that you've had that, because I
yeah,
know a lot of people have, like, we've had each other. Some musicians have been so isolated this time.
yeah.
It's like,
It's
yeah,
devastating on a lot of levels
yeah,
because everything, our whole life has been dedicated to community, playing together and being, in the same room, breathing the same air. And all of a sudden, everybody's living in Zoom and a cappella worlds and all this stuff.
yeah.
I
well,
mean,
and
for me,
all, and speaking of breathing the same air, it could kill you. So you got
yeah,
to
I mean
change.
it's like we went through a wormhole into some weird alternate universe, kind of like Bizarro world in the old Superman comics. It's like this whole other thing has happened to us. But the critical thing is really surviving all of this and moving forward. And there's at least a light at the end of the tunnel that isn't a train coming at you.
Exactly. Well, I think that the light, which is really interesting, and it is getting brighter and brighter.
Yeah,
I find a certain excitement, and I can hear it in you, that just to get back on the road with the immediate family, what we're excited about. We hear a lot of it's the opening up of America,
Yeah.
and hopefully it won't be too soon. And hopefully it won't be too dangerous.
yeah,
But I mean, I mean, there's an explosive energy, in the
yeah.
air,
It's
and
exciting. It can be
it's
exciting. It
what's
can
that?
be exciting, but it just has to be smart also.
Yeah, it has to be
And
smart, but within that, I mean, I think it's just going to be pretty incredible year. Just the with that explosive kind of
yeah,
energy. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's definitely definitely on steroids.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's
yeah.
been
I
so
mean,
nice to hear from folks saying, like, why don't you come to this town? Just as we've been planning our
Hmm.
tour, it's actually worked out that a lot of people have gotten in touch with us, and we've been able to set up house concerts or other shows in their town. And if there are more folks, it's possible we could make a couple more things work on our way back west. But it's just been really fun. Like, there's so much enthusiasm from the audience too, from you guys,
yeah,
just being like, I'll drive to wherever, like, just,
yeah.
get me
Yeah,
People are
out there.
chomping at the bit to
Oh
go
my
hear
gosh.
live
absolutely.
music and
Where's your tour, the immediate family tour? Where's that going to go?
as of right now, the stuff that they're putting together, I think, is going to be late October. Will be some West Coast gigs like the Libero, probably Canyon Club gigs like
Hmm.
that. They're talking about a bunch of things, and then we're going to do an East Coast run at the beginning of November. But I haven't got any of the dates in front of me yet. So there's a lot of things looming.
Hmm.
There's everybody's anxious to get out and get to work. For me, the challenge that's going to be kind of exciting about it is when I started my YouTube thing, which was really a total accident. I never thought I was starting a YouTube channel, but I've got, I think, about 580 videos up now on it. I've had one up every day, at least one a day, every single day since March of last year. And I'm going to take that on the road with me. And so I'm still determined to get a video out every day and do the live streams. And it was great. We did a live stream yesterday, but the one 2 weeks ago, I did it from the studio. So the guys came on, and Nico Bolas came on and talked, technical miking things with people that were interested in that and stuff. So um, I've really enjoyed this so much that I really don't
Yeah.
want it to end at all. And for me, so I'm gonna just keep, just keep plowing away every day
You're going to keep
and
doing it on
posting.
the road, which is a nice
Yeah,
thing you
I'll
can
keep
do.
doing
If
it on the road.
you can even do it on the bus or in a hotel room.
As long as I got Wi-Fi, I can do it.
Yeah.
So
Well, you can
I've
Yeah.
hook up to your phone too.
yeah, I do everything. I mean, I'm
That's
I'm so low tech, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the way I've got my whole thing set up. Um, Rick Beato, who's like one of my favorite guys on YouTube, he came out to LA and he came out to the house and I took him upstairs and showed him where I do my stuff from, and he just started laughing. He just goes, "Really? This is how you do all that stuff?" It's pretty
so
funky. But
Hey, you're making it work. Folks are enjoying it. That's
yeah,
that's what
Yeah,
counts. You're
absolutely.
communicating, and people can hear you and see you. I feel like
yeah,
that's
it's all about content. It's not about being slick or anything like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Lee, our friend
I
Ted
was just gonna
Spiro, you know
say,
Ted Spiro
yeah.
yeah,
from the mansion?
He says
yeah.
hi. He's
He says
watching.
hi,
Great.
he's watching. He wants the immediate family to come to the mansion and do
Yeah.
a show.
We probably leveled the place. when I
Maybe
played
just
there with Judith Owen, it's perfect.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
It's
exactly. Well,
so
that's what's
intimate.
nice about a duo. You can do
Yeah.
things like that in house kind of. It's what we love doing. You can definitely the whole pair down thing.
I
But
Yeah.
love
I was going to say to Ted and to you guys, we're going to do a fundraiser at the mansion. Alice and me, we're going to have a couple other people there, and I'm wondering. I'm just throwing this out there, but maybe you guys could, because I know you respect the mansion. You've been there, and they could use a little bit of financial help. I wonder if, and I'll talk to Steve about it, but I wonder if you guys might be willing to perhaps just zoom in, for a tune or something to help raise some money.
Well, absolutely. Let's see what we can do. I'm happy to be able to be of help on any level that comes along. And I've always enjoyed staying there and doing gigs there. Their hospitality is as good as it gets. And
Yes.
Agreed.
so anything that might be able to possibly do to help out, I'm happy to do that.
Oh, great.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
We'll
Lee.
talk about that
Yeah,
down
well,
the
we're
We'll stay
line.
in
putting
touch.
something together. We're putting together. We haven't even talked to Ted yet. Hey, Ted, we're
Ted,
putting
we're
something
talking to
together.
you.
We have some ideas. And Rick, just so you know, the mansion on O Street is in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
He was asking. Yeah, so I'm thinking we've, got a few more minutes here. Do we want to do some more music? Should I
I think you should
play
play a
another
song so I can play a
song?
little
I'd
bit
love
of
to hear
bass.
you.
Okay. Shall I? What should I do?
Maybe we can get a request from one of our fans here.
Does anybody have a request of something that I know?
One of your songs. Ah. Anybody have any requests? A song of Alice's?
Freebird.
It's,
Ooh,
all right, yeah,
I'm
it's not her
seeing.
song. Just in
I'm
case you
seeing
know.
the. Did you say Freebo or
No,
Freebird?
no,
Freebird.
it's
Everybody,
hers.
that's the classic.
It
Anybody
is a
wants something, they
classic.
yell Freebird. It's just like Jesus.
Oh my gosh, Dawn is
Twilight.
requesting the Oh, somebody said Twilight. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go with that.
All right.
That was the verbal communication that got me there. Okay, who said that? Who was that? Where are you? Oh, I have to announce the winner.
That was Jack.
The winner. Thank you for the request, Jack. The winner tonight, drum roll, is Yasi. Yasi, you won the cable tonight. I am so happy. She's dancing.
See, persistent pays off.
She has
tune
been
in every
guessing
week.
every week. I'm so happy you won tonight. Congratulations. Do you want to say hi? Or are you going to just dance quietly?
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited. And
You
thank
are
you for this.
so
This has
welcome.
been fantastic. And thanks, Leland, for being here. It's great.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm having the time of my life. I mean, Freebo and I go back, forever, and it's just so great to see you guys doing this. This is
Yeah.
so cool.
Well, I never really got to meet you, I don't think, Leland.
No.
Maybe at NAMM very briefly or something like that. I
I
have
would
a memory.
at NAMM I would have been in an irreversible coma.
I know. Well, I had the honor of actually playing an acoustic set in the drum room, which was
Oh yeah, that was very very smartly.
it was
organized.
unusual. No, it was nice to have the visibility. I was happy to do it, but it was really loud.
It was only visible. You could not hear it.
It was visual only.
And it was, and the irony, the sound people who say it can't be above 100 decibel, 90 decibel. They've got drummers clanging and cymbals and everything, and they come to us playing acoustic. You got to turn it down. It's like we can't even hear ourselves. So you hear all the cacophony
And we
going
got to
on.
play. I believe Michael Jokum played with us.
Michael
for that,
did, yeah.
that day.
Michael sat in with us. That was fun.
That was
Oh,
fun.
that's
you
Michael's
could hear.
so good. He's such good people.
I
is,
love
he
Michael.
is.
We're gonna be seeing him
And-
real soon in Denver.
And I know you guys definitely share the same political perspective.
You know, we both get kicked off of Facebook pretty regular. I've been laying pretty low on there because I'm waiting for some shit to really hit the fan so I can jump in there. But I've had a couple of good death threats lately, so I know I'm still doing the right thing.
You're still alive and
I
well.
love it.
Oh my gosh.
Let's hear a
Shake it up.
song.
All right, here's the song. We've been talking. I know a dirt road in the late afternoon where the shade and the sunlight gather in pools. There are trees to the right, twisted and wild. To my left is the sea, like a glimmering eye. Well, I'm not the first one, and I won't be the last, who's come to this crossroads and breezed on past, with my destination my only concern, one foot on the gas as the yellow light turns. And there's nothing like being alone at twilight, the ocean and I each approaching high tide, held aloft on the waves of my pride. I'm better off walking alone at twilight. My lover is steady, and he tells me be still and take a deep breath. He's just hoping I will, but my mind keeps on racing till I'm far out of sight, at the end of the road on the threshold of night. And there's nothing like being alone at twilight, the ocean and I each approaching high tide, held aloft on the waves of my pride. Better off walking alone at twilight. Well, the sun's gone down and the twilight is past, that magic hour, it never lasts. It's a long strand of pearls, one that I'll never own, and the answers I seek are the smallest of stones. So I work till I'm tired, then I lay down to rest, and that takes just a bit of this weight off my chest. But the years stretch before me, I admit that it's true. This restless pursuit is what I'm called to do. And there's nothing like being alone at twilight, the ocean and I each approaching high tide, held aloft on the waves of my pride. I'm better off walking alone. Yeah, I hate to leave being alone at twilight.
Yeah. So pretty.
Thank you guys.
Good mix.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounded really good. A really good balance on that.
Right.
happy to hear that.
That's all we care about. It's a good mix.
Yep. That's what we spent the
That's all
last
about.
year trying to figure out how to do.
And now you
Pretty
got it
much.
figured out at the end.
Mhm.
Hey, well, it's almost time. What are you thinking, Freebo, for the last few minutes here?
Well, I was thinking we should see if there's some questions. You know,
Yeah, does
have any
anybody want to say
questions?
hi
Somebody
from
like to say hi.
from
We
the
know that
room
there's some
here?
people out who know you, Lee. I'm guessing you might know Joel Tepp. Do you know Joel Tepp from the old days?
Yeah, jump in here.
Joel's picture there. There he is. They just took off the
What?
top hat.
Joel Tepp, look
He's
at that
there. He's got
beard.
that beard and the mustache. My God,
Some handsome.
you're doing a Leland Sklar there.
He's trying to be like you, I
man.
think.
No, that's
great.
nothing to strive for.
Does anybody want to unmute and say hi? Just maybe one at a time. Let's just say hello.
Well, since you
Raise
were
your
kissing
hand.
my beard, I will jump
Oh,
in.
there you go.
Hey, Joel.
So wonderful to see both of you. And Lee, thanks for just all the wonderful stories as always.
Oh, thank you so much.
Can you capture a screenshot there?
Ooh, maybe I should do that. Good idea, Joel.
No, from me, because I just wanted to say hi to Lee.
Oh, wait, do it at the same time. Hold on, wait, do it again. Do it again. Everybody do it. Everybody.
All
do
right,
it.
everybody.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Got it.
All right, that's all I have to say.
That's great, Jill.
That is a great screenshot. I'm really happy we did
Yeah.
that.
It's all so silly.
It is.
Let's have fun, man. It's a time for smiling. You know,
It is.
It
there's
is.
been enough darkness in this past 14, 15 months. Let's just have some fun.
Yes.
I have to say, Leland, you make us smile. You make us smile. We really appreciate it
Oh, thank you so much.
every time. We love having you guys. It's been a thrill to have all three of you, all three cordial endorsing artists on tonight. We really, really enjoyed it and love you guys and love having you in the family. So thanks a lot. Congratulations, Yossi.
That's
Yes.
great.
Hi, it's
Anybody? Oh, go ahead, Storm.
Hi, Storm.
Storm from Greenfield, Massachusetts.
I hear you're having a heat wave.
We are having a heat wave. I definitely was glad to have cool thoughts coming from the vibes here because they're not outside my door.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
And it was weird. We were supposed to get a thunderstorm last night, and literally it was like the rain was in the sky, but it wasn't making it to the ground.
Oh goodness.
But anyways, I've heard people mention the Clubhouse and I've heard people mention YouTube live streaming, but I haven't heard any times for either. So I'm wondering when you actually.
Are you talking about my situation?
Yeah.
Yeah. What it is if you go to my channel on YouTube,
Yeah.
there's a link on every video to the Clubhouse, and
Okay.
it's like $10 a month for the live streams and everything, and you just sign up on that, and then
Okay.
I'll announce like when the live streams are. It's usually on a Tuesday or a Wednesday every other week, and we end up just depending on how things go for 2.5 hours. But it is a fabulous community of characters on that. I so enjoy it. And then once a month, I do one-on-one Skype or FaceTimes with people, and I do that all day on a Saturday, and it's usually about 18 or 20 people by the end of the day that I've hung out and talked with, and we've really gotten to be really close on this. So it's been really fun. And in the Clubhouse, I'm going to do my QVC moment here. And in the Clubhouse, there's also stuff in there. There's T-shirts and mugs and all kinds of paraphernalia in there, and beard grooming kits. That we can.
I think Joel Tepp is in line to get one.
I think Storm is too. I feel
Storm
like
might
we're
be
really
as well,
having
yeah.
It's a mighty handsome grouping we've got. You've got.
Don's getting a little thing going there, Don Clune.
Yeah. The thing that was crazy was looking at the weather report though the other night and just seeing what like the Northeast was like roasting. Seeing it was like 105 in North Dakota while we are still in the 70s here in LA. I'm just
Yeah.
going, man, you just don't
Yeah.
think. But there's no climate issues. It's fine. It's all
No,
good.
none
No,
whatsoever.
it's a hoax. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I don't know if I'm muted or not, Brian. Brandon?
Yeah,
hi,
and
Hawk
it's like
Money.
they've messed up the weather station because I looked on what the weather was a little while ago, and there was a heat index warning at the same time it was saying it was 57 degrees, which it obviously is not today. So,
See, the
No.
real problem is the weather people don't have windows in their offices.
That's right.
Stick your head out and go, shit, it's hot. Shut it and that's it.
Well, I looked at the weather app on my phone, and I saw for us here in Southern California, next Wednesday is supposed to be 99 degrees.
Oh,
And
we've been
so
reduced to
yeah,
talking about the weather on
yeah.
Inside Live.
Oh
Oh
man,
man.
is that what it's come down
Yep.
to? God,
This
we're
is
getting
it.
Well,
superficial. Oh my
it's
God.
that or back pain or incontinence. Or,
I wanted to ask my friend John Callahan, who's on there. Hi, John at Logistics Group. How you doing, buddy?
Good for you.
John was went out with Tony Bennett for, well, not as a date. I mean, Tony's married, and so is John. But he was Tony's tour manager for a long time. And I was wondering, I saw a little thing in the Celebrity Theater where it talked about him possibly coming back, but I had also got the impression Tony wasn't touring anymore. Could you fill us in on that?
Yeah, well, Tony's going to be 95 on August 3rd. And we have a little something special coming up. I really can't announce it yet, but we're going to be doing something in New York sometime around the first week of August
Wow.
with a couple of special guests at a highly respected venue, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So-
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So let your memory, let your mind wander on that one, but it's going to be announced very, very shortly.
Great.
Great.
That's terrific.
Yeah,
95th birthday celebration for Tony Bennett. So I think
Oh,
I think
that's
that's where it's
wonderful.
headed. But Lee, while I have you for a second, were you going out to promote any of the Kate stuff?
yeah, I'm going out with Peter, Asher, and Kate. We'll be out from the 24th of July to the 4th of August, I believe. And I think it's mostly East Coast where they're doing. And we're going to do it like 3 days out on the Vineyard and Cape
Right.
Cod.
Okay, I gotta talk to Kate tomorrow about that because I want to try to hook up with one of those shows.
Oh, okay, that would be great. Also, man, I saw Tony's show at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh yeah,
Billy Stritch is a really good friend. And
the one with was Gaga. Did she
Gaga.
make the special appearance?
Yeah, when Gaga came and sang with him.
Yeah.
Man, Tony's just it's like the Energizer Bunny. It's just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I've watched him for 8 years, and as he's gotten older, it's an amazing thing what a live performance will do to an artist. He's off stage, he's his age.
Yeah.
And once the curtain goes and the spotlight hits him, he's 20 years younger. And it's amazing what the adrenaline rush will do to an artist. It's just, I saw hundreds and hundreds of shows with him, and he's a legend. There's no question.
It's an elixir. I remember being on the road, and we were doing a gig in Vigo, Spain, and on the bill was Tito Puente's big band with Celia Cruz.
Oh,
And
geez, yeah.
I see them. Her trailer opens up, and this feeble old lady is helped out by two guys. They get her to the stage. The light hits her. She was 20 years old. She tore it up for like an hour on stage, walked off, and folded back up. But that hour on stage is the most magical thing one can experience. And when you see the old artists like that, I saw Charles Aznavour at the Greek Theater celebrating his 90th birthday. And he was all original keys, dancing all over the stage.
Wow, geez, yeah.
Holy crap,
Yeah, it was the same thing.
I hope
back in the
Tony's
day
okay. That'd be fabulous.
Same thing back in the day with Bonnie Raitt with Sippy Wallace, and
Oh.
Sippy had a
Sippy, for
stroke,
sure.
and Bonnie had Sippy open up quite a few shows, and she had her nephew helping her, and she had a cane. She could hardly. But once on stage, she started. You see the movement. She'd start to rock. She'd start to joke around. She'd sing, and then the same thing after the adrenaline wears off, goes back to being. It's an amazing thing.
It is amazing.
And, I mean, Tony is. I mean, I keep saying it. My idol is Tony Bennett. I want to be like Tony Bennett. I want to be 90 years old and still singing and still playing. And I don't care what I'm like off the stage, but so wheel me onto stage. Let me do my thing. I'll do my vocal exercises. I'll do some sort of physicality. But I mean,
well, he'll be 95 on August 3rd. So
that's amazing. That's incredible.
We got a long road to go, people.
That's amazing.
Not as long
Good
as you
to
might
see you,
think.
John.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's great, John.
do a quick Tony Bennett story. This is Tommy.
Yeah.
So my father grew up in Corona and Elmont, and I don't know, the early 40s, he used to pick up Tony Bennett on Friday night. My father's friend was a singer, drummer, Angelo Ferrara. He used to pick him up in Astoria and drive him to the subway. And before he was really famous, and then he hadn't seen him in a while in the 40s, I think, during the war. My father ran across Tony Bennett walking in the city, maybe on Broadway or something. And my father said, whatever, I don't know what he called him, Tony or whatever, I forget. How you doing? And he said, the music isn't going well. I may have to just do my art. He told my father that. And it was,
there you go.
Someone, was it Frank Sinatra or someone that helped him get famous?
Well, I mean, Frank always said that Tony was his favorite singer.
Yeah.
And I think it was Bob Hope that actually gave him his name.
That was what I heard. Yep.
It was Bob. Yeah. Bob gave Tony, he was out there as Joe Barry, and he said,
Yes, that was it. Yep.
what's your real name? Anthony Benedetto. You're now Tony Bennett.
Exactly. That's what my father said. Who named him? Bob Hope?
Yeah, it's Bob Hope.
Yeah, that's what my father told me. Yeah, because my father was into music. He didn't play, but he loved music, and I guess the swing era or whatever. Yeah, my father's probably would have been the same age as Tony. I think he was born in around 25 or something.
22.
Yeah.
No, he was 26.
Wow.
Yeah, my father was
95 and 21. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
That's really
Nobody said
inspiring.
there'd be math involved.
No, yeah, forget it.
I know. Yeah, I get.
Leland
Too
is
late.
better than the weather.
Anyway, Freebo, hope to see you and Alice somewhere on the East Coast at some point.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so too. That'd be great. And I was going to say to both you guys, not Alice, but I'm going to be on the Vineyard actually doing a show or two of my own. I think the 30th, the 31st of July, and the 1st and 2nd. It's that weekend. Do you know when your shows are with
I
Kate?
think the last shows of our run are there, so we might be there at the same time.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, I'd love to come. I hope it's not
Oh,
the
it'd be
same
great.
as one of my shows. Damn it!
Damn.
Can I open for you guys?
Oh man, well we could at least cuddle.
No, I've actually got a band, some really good musicians.
I'll be stuck in
I'm
New York at
kind of excited
rehearsals.
about it.
I'm sorry.
Oh man!
But I'll be on the Vineyard in August. I'm a guest DJ on MVY.
Oh,
Do you know when that's going to be?
Cool.
I don't know when it's going to air. I'm going to tape it with Amy Vanderman. I got 2 hours of guest DJ slots. I'm going to do my whole career. Every artist I've worked with, I'm doing a song and a little tidbit of touring. Should be interesting.
Which Bonnie song are you going to play?
I think Angel.
Oh, cool. Great.
Cool.
Angel from
Excellent.
Montgomery.
Excellent.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, Lee.
Anyway, great talking to you guys. Safe
Thanks,
traveling. I'm glad it's opening up again finally
Yeah.
after way too long a respite. And
Indeed.
travel safe, and we'll
Thank
see you
you.
down the road.
Thank
All
you.
right.
We look forward to that, John.
That'd be great.
Right.
Hey,
you,
Lee,
Kelly.
say hello to Ted Spiro's on there.
Hey, Ted. How are you?
Jump in here.
Hey Ted.
Somebody unmute Ted. Ted, unmute yourself.
How you
There you
doing?
go.
Hey Ted.
Hey.
Hey, strangers.
Hi.
Can't
Good
wait
to
to
see
see
you.
ya.
Oh, hey Ted.
Hey, Lee, how you
Can't
doing?
wait too. We're gonna call you.
Miss you guys.
Can't wait for the next We Write the Songs on the Hill.
I know. I was talking to Chris Caswell, and we're just hoping that next year we'll be back in the saddle there again at the Library of Congress, because that's one of my favorite gigs. I was talking to Omar Hakim too, and we were both going, "Go, we missed that show." So here's hoping.
You never know who's going to show up to that.
Yeah, well, we actually do, because we have
Yes, I
to
know.
prepare. It's a cool gig, though. I love doing that gig. And we're with Paul, so
Paul, I actually H and I went to visit him a few times during COVID in Taos, New Mexico. When Mentor passed away, he gave him the house in Taos. It's called the Driftaway Lodge.
Oh wow!
So we went up there for his 80th birthday and 30 years sober, and that was a real treat.
That's great. It's Paul Williams we're talking about.
Yes, yes, that's great.
Yeah.
But we're really looking forward to Alice and Freebo back at the mansion next month. We'll get to see him in person and everything.
Yes,
That's right. That's right.
that would be wonderful.
That'd be
Are
great.
we gonna have to
It's
wear
a
masks?
Perfect setting for you guys.
We love the mansion.
No, we love the mansion. We played there several times and raised a couple bucks. Hopefully we can raise a little bit more this time.
A couple more each time.
That's a good thing.
It means a lot. Thank you, guys. Great to see you.
Of course. Great to
Good
see you too.
Ted.
Well, you guys, it's been another lovely Wednesday evening. I think it's time to say goodbye. And Leland, thank you so much for being here with us. This was such a treat.
Invite. I really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed this. And you guys, you're great. I mean, I hope we can cross paths on the road. It'd be really fun.
We
That
will.
would be
Hey,
wonderful.
if we do, maybe when one of Alice's songs, I can switch to guitar and you can play bass, huh?
Whatever you want. You're my hero.
What? This is gonna be good. Maybe we could do. Could we do tuba and
I don't know.
bass?
Tuba, because I don't know about the two bass thing. It doesn't usually work out very well.
Yeah, it takes a little foresight to.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
One acoustic guitar and two basses sounds like.
that's not. It's ganging up.
Yes.
It's bullying is what it is.
It's bullying.
That's when the egos hit.
Yep. Well, Leland, thank you. You're such a pleasure to speak with, and to hear your stories is just wonderful. So I know everybody's enjoyed it so much, and a couple people are flipping you off right now with love.
With love.
Yeah, they're the best. They're the best out there. What you've got just a bunch of maniacs out there. It's great.
They're good people.
Well,
we like them. We'll keep them.
We do. We love our maniacs, as I'm sure you love yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you for the last episode next week.
Last episode next week.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And
I'm gonna cry.
if any of you are not on, let's say, my email list, please email me, freebo@freebomusic.com. I guess you are. But
or check out all the list of shows are on my website, alicehowe.com. They're right there on the homepage. So I'm continuously updating that. Freebo has yet to update his website, but you can you can look at mine.
Yeah, I'm going to. But also, we've done 40 of these shows now, and there's some wonderful conversations, some seriously memorable moments, and they are all archived, particularly on Alice's YouTube channel. People like Chris Smither, Tom Paxton. I mean, gosh, who are some of the other people we had?
Oh, Rory Block.
Rory
We've had
Block.
Holly Neer. We've had Amy Speece. A lot of great younger artists that Ellis Paul, Vance Gilbert. We've had
Albert
some of
Lee.
It's been wonderful.
So
no
yeah,
Topo Gigio.
What's that?
No Topo Gigio.
No.
Okay. You don't remember Topo Gigio?
No. Help.
Is that like Oingo Boingo?
No, it was a little Italian mouse on Ed Sullivan puppet. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted there.
No, I used to watch Ed Sullivan all the time. How come I don't know that?
Topo Gigio.
That's why they
before my
invented
time.
Google.
I know. I gotta know. Well, I think there was some recognition
Yeah.
here on the screen, as you said.
Scarlett Rivera, we had Scarlett on. That was
Yep.
fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you. Nice to see you, Deb. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
I see
thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you joining us. Thank you. We see you.
Bye.
We love you.
You're the
Thank you
best.
Thanks
so
for
much.
being here.
We'll see you
Love
next
you
week,
all.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank everybody. Congratulations, Yossi.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lee.
Good night. Thanks, Lee.